Welcome back, everybody, to the podcast. We're going to start off with Max uploaded a reel recently, which has got some contrasting opinions, hasn't it? So I'll let you get into that, mate, because it's a good one.
So the reel, in essence, was just talking about statistically, the 25% of bodybuilders have a diagnosed mental health condition. And it isn't matter of fact this, but with appropriate information, it's suggested around 50% have some kind of mental health dysfunction. So then I went on to say that means that there's a lot of incredibly vulnerable people. Now, when you think that bodybuilding, the age at which people are starting because of their exposure to it on social media is getting younger as well, there's also this very young group of people from 16, 17, 18, all the way into the early 20s that are also potentially have mental health issues that are very, very vulnerable and can be taken advantage of. And what I was saying is that these people will work with other people, full of drugs, chasing a result, not really considering or prioritising that individual's mental, physical and emotional welfare, and that can lead to trauma. And in some cases, that trauma can lead to PTSD. Now, here's the distinction, because a lot of people are getting upset about using the word PTSD. What I've said in clinical terms is a matter of fact correct, right? If you argue with that, then you are wrong, and you only need to do a quick ChatGPT or Google search to know that you are wrong. Now, the problem for a lot of people is where they misunderstand, and this is where I've done a bit more research to give people a bit more grace. There are two kinds of PTSD that come under the bracket of PTSD. They're still the same. So PTSD is this is the bracket that I use. There are two kinds that sit under that bracket, right? So what I've said isn't incorrect. It's still accurate, but the reason why people are getting upset is because one form of PTSD is called big T PTSD. It's one major traumatic event, which is like losing a leg at war, seeing someone being shot, rape. These things are very, very extreme and objectively very, very fucking traumatically. And like, it's a singular event. You've got another form of PTSD, which is called complex PTSD, and that's a wearing down of your character, of you, not just your character, but your internal systems over time, to a point where your nervous system starts to develop trauma. Well, in a bodybuilding sense, if you are at the very end of your physical width, so to speak, you are at the absolute extremities physically, which naturally puts a lot of stress on you mentally. You're taking drugs, you're not in the right emotional headspace, you're vulnerable, you have mental health issues, and you're being manipulated by someone who's supposed to be taking care of you over the course of a prep or even post-show. That can lead to PTSD. So as a matter of fact, that's true. If you want to argue with it, you're more than welcome to. If I've hurt your feelings, I'm sorry, but that's just how it is. Now,
I think people just also like misinterpreting what PTSD is. It doesn't have to be just related to something incredibly traumatic like war scenarios. Obviously, everyone links PTSD to people that are from the military because they experience it the most, but that isn't what PTSD is solely focused on. Like it can be from anything. So just because you've used the words PTSD doesn't take anything away from it.
Subjective as well, like this, and this is another point that I got, which I'm going to touch on, but I'll try to get into in the comments, which I think this for me is the worst bit, and I think it's fucking abhorrent, and it just shows the state of people's mindsets, particularly men, and how they view the world around them and the people in it. And funnily enough, I had a conversation with Cooper about this in the gym yesterday. We had a bit of a back and forth. We disagreed on a few things, but actually we agreed on most things. So it's funny how, I mean, again, referring to Cooper, I think actually quite emotionally and intellectually intelligent. So even he could get his head around it. I'm saying that as if he's thick. He's not. He's super smart. But again, it's like this. It's a lot of ego based around these like meathead bodybuilders that are clearly very unintelligent. And the narrative that was really upset me the most was that people say things, and Dara said it, right? And it's like this: Well, if you don't like, the first one was like calling people weak and soft and like, what's the world coming to? It's pathetic. Right. Well, let's just break that down for a second. Not everybody is the same. Not everybody is born the same. Not everybody has the same experiences. And whilst one person might be up here with their level of resilience, another person might be down here. And the only reason that there's that separation is because of life events, your upbringing, your schooling, your peers, your education, you name it, could be all of these things. And so because of your exposure to certain things, and it's that exposure to those things has been the right amount of exposure to see you grow and become more resilient. It's not been too much where it's knocked you back. It's allowed you to grow. Now, these people at the bottom, let's say there's a 26-year-old and he's experienced loads of different shit, and there's a 20-year-old, right? The 26-year-old, just because of his age, is more likely to be a bit more resilient. So now, these guys in the comments at 26, 30, whatever, and they're shitting on people who are 10 years their junior, or maybe not had the same life experiences, who are naive, who are young, who are vulnerable, and they're going, you're pathetic, you're weak, oh my God, you're soft. And it's like, no, hold up. We don't bring a society of people to be up and to be stronger by shaming them and telling them they're shit. How we elevate people is we understand them. We try and find countermeasures to give them enough resistance to see them grow to become stronger, and then facilitate that. Right? We don't turn around and go, "You're soft, fucking grow up." Like, what does that do for someone other than make them feel worse about themselves?
Yeah, I don't like that argument of you're soft, or if you don't enjoy it, just don't do it, because you can absolutely love something, but if your experience is doing something that you love, if you get like a bad experience, for example, it can really throw you and then you just don't enjoy it as much. So if you can avoid those experiences or learn to deal with them better, like, you're still going to love this sport. But if you put a young person in these stupid scenarios, these reckless scenarios, then their love for it is definitely going to fade over time.
I completely
And
agree,
that's,
Max,
for
with
me,
what
that
you've said. Like, yeah, it seems like a bigoted way to sort of look at it, and just sort of put people down. Like, I think it's terrible, and it sort of shows this sort of like headspace that some people are in, that they're just so negative to other people, because deep down that's probably what they're struggling with, and they're like almost trying to say it to convince themselves. And it's just like, just be supportive, like
I'm not
help people.
yeah.
I think you've
I
just
don't
made,
like the meathead like way of things of like, you've got to be hardcore with this, because if you look at some of the best bodybuilders, like look at Sebum, for example, look how vulnerable he was at some points,
yeah.
and he went on to win the Olympia because he was vulnerable, and he lent on people. Like, to be a good bodybuilder, you don't have to be like, no one cares, work harder, like people have been saying a lot. Like, you can be vulnerable in this sport.
I think for me, what you've just touched on a second ago, Ben, is I think if I'm trying to remain really calm, and I'm trying to always be compassionate and understanding about where these people are coming from, I think that when people say something like that, like you're soft or you're weak, the reason why they're saying it is because they've likely encountered difficulty in their life, and they haven't had someone in their life supporting them in the way that they needed support. And so they've had to navigate it probably more difficult, in a more difficult manner, in a more difficult fashion. And they've had to suffer unnecessarily to be able to overcome that hurdle, that obstacle, right? And so, and they've done it solo, on their own, and they've managed it themselves. And it's probably taken them longer, and they've probably struggled a lot with it. And then when they see someone go, oh, guys, if you're really struggling, like, this is, you need to do this, and someone basically supporting people through that, these people are turning around and going, no, you fucking soft, because I've had to deal with X and I've come through it on my own. You don't need blah, blah, blah. And I think it comes from a place of anger and frustration that they've not had the same support. I think that's what it is. I think
there's also a flip side to that they may not have even had any hardships with it, so they just think that this is quite easy. So they've not had to deal with some of the stuff that people have. So they're like, oh, why are they complaining? Bodybuilding's easy. Like, stop being soft or weak. But the reality is, their situation has been relatively easy. They've not had to deal with any struggles.
Not had a really difficult home life whilst your coach has told you to take 2 grams of gear and you're currently like battling a mental fucking disorder or an eating disorder. Like, you go through all of that and then be manipulated by someone you idolize and is coaching you, and then be belittled by them as well when you start binge eating because you fucking struggle and it's your coping mechanism. You go through all of that and then tell me that's not going to create some kind of trauma. Might not turn into PTSD, but it does for some people.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden you went from something that you absolutely love and it's your outlet to the point to then it's now causing you more issues. I don't want to do this. And then you say that I can't, that I'm stepping away, or I don't want to do this, and then you just get criticized for it, for being weak. So it's kind of just like,
It is so
that as well.
Like,
yes,
I saw a reel from Reese Fit yesterday, and it started off and it said, everyone is a pussy these days. And I just scrolled and I was just like, and it's annoying because it's all, I don't even think these people are formulating these opinions themselves. It's just dripped down from a top figure in bodybuilding.
Mate, there's 100% a fucking trend at the minute to shit on people that are trying to make it easier, if that makes sense. So like, people are just jumping on it.
I think it's cool.
Yeah, I think it's cool. Like when everyone's saying about like or like the fatigue management and all of that stuff.
I think it's also a very easy way for people to diminish responsibility of being a coach, right? Do you know one thing that I'll always give myself credit for is whenever anything ever goes wrong, it's my fault. It's my fault. As a coach, it's my fault. I failed you, honestly, every time. And do you know what? That's why it fucking upsets me so much. That's why I take it to heart so much. I said it with you the other week, Ben, like, there are things about your prep and post-show that we could have definitely done better. And in hindsight, it's like we know what to do next time, which would make it better. Potentially. We don't even know for a matter of fact, but like, I think we could surmise we could have made it better. That's my fault, as I see it. That's my fault. That's for me to bear that burden, not for you, because I'm managing it for you. This is why you pay me.
Mate, we said that as soon as I walked off the stage on my second show. You said we did this wrong. Like, we could have done stuff better. Like, that is,
it's me.
Yeah, it is, and that's what you should do as a good coach. But I also think, addressing your reel quickly, some of the comments that I've seen on it made me laugh because it was from coaches, and all I'm seeing is when they're making these comments is, you are just exposing yourself that you do not care about your clients right now.
Literally.
You do not care about their mental health or their mindset to this. Like, yes, you may be an all right coach in terms of the bodybuilding aspect, but if you're not taking care of their mental health as well and their mindset, the bodybuilding is going to be shit too. So
I'm going to put something to you, and this is something that I've been thinking about a lot over the last 24 hours. Right. I on that Friday, I went into the gym. I was training legs, and I saw Joel. Right, I think you both met Joel.
Yeah, of course I know Joel.
I saw Joel, and we were talking about it all, and I just said to him, because I was speaking about my last prep and my perception of it and my relationship with prepping at the moment, and that's maybe a story for another day. But I said to him, because of that, I said, my main priority when it comes to someone who's competed is there are 2 things. I keep burping, sorry. The 2 things is you're happy, your overall happiness around your efforts, right, and where we got you. So what you think you're capable of and what you actually achieve, they're as close together as possible, right? Then the next thing is you enjoy it, right? That's the next thing. And then the next thing after, well, these are all, it's not like a top to bottom list. But another thing is that we reduce / minimize all of the negative implications of this experience as much as possible. So I said to Joel, turn around. Joel, I think he placed 5th in 1 show out of 7, and he might have placed he placed last or second to last in another one, right? Standard was crazy, but that doesn't matter. He's a first timer. And I said to him, did you enjoy, like, and this is so fucking important to me. I said, did you enjoy it? Did you have a good time? Like, and he went, yeah, I fucking loved it, mate. That's why I want to do it again. And I went, right, sound, job well done then. That's all that matters. And did you come away from it feeling like there were any negatives from that experience? He went, none at all. No problems with eating, no binging. He was pushed to as far as we both thought he was capable of being pushed. He delivered a physique that we were both happy with, and he enjoyed the experience. Couldn't fucking ask for much more than that. And I would go, and I would dare say, I would speak to every single person that I have coached to stage, all bar one. Funnily enough, I actually spoke to him yesterday to have a conversation with him about that. That every single one of them, including you guys, whilst is difficult sometimes there are challenges that you do face, but your overall experience was a positive one, and you would do it again, and you enjoyed it. And you're happy with you're happy with the result that what you thought you were capable of, plus versus what we actually achieved, were pretty much identical, and we delivered that.
Yeah, I would rather place dead last at a show but enjoy that prep and want to do it again, compared to winning a show and then I don't ever want to do it again.
Yeah, I think, and then this is how I would structure it, right? So when I think about how I manage use, is to facilitate for all of those things. The first thing that we do when we prep, regardless of whether you prep before or you're a first timer, no expectations. I can't drill it into you guys enough that where you place and what the result is, it does not mean anything, because the goal of being a good bodybuilder is making progress. You can't determine what happens on a day when you compete. All you can determine is your efforts to be better than what you were before. So when you're the first time on stage, you can be fat. As long as you're the leanest you've ever been, you've won already, right?
Especially your first shows, like the first few shows, your first few years of competing, there shouldn't be any pressure on placings. There will come a time, if you do this long enough, there will come a time where you will get to that point where you can worry about placings. But for the first few runs, not at all.
I've got a question for you, Smith. Do you feel like you were pushed to, not pushed, but do you feel like I encouraged you to go to a place that you knew you were capable of, or do you think you went beyond it?
I think I went beyond it, but in not a car crash way. Does that make sense?
I asked that question. Yeah, I asked the question because what you did as a natural first timer, I think is nothing short of fucking insane and like incredibly impressive. And I knew you were going to do something impressive. I don't think I realized just how impressive until we gotten into the thick of it. And I didn't think you'd be able to get to where you got to come that last show. But once we were within about 6 weeks of it, I thought you were capable of getting there. And I thought you were capable of getting there without there being too much resistance or pushback in terms of like a health or negative behavioral aspect.
Yeah.
And I just wonder what your perception of all that is.
I think when you're in it, you're like, well, yeah, when you're in it, you're very, very just motivated to continue to get better, and you're perhaps not deep in these things that are not ideal. You sort of think you'll fix it after. I think there definitely were implications of my prep, but I understood that you were very clear. This is what's going to happen, and you can lay it out. And once I know, it's up to me then whether we keep going. Like, I've accepted the consequence of what I'm going to do for the next 3 weeks, and yeah, I think you were very good at that.
I think mentally you prepared us very well going into prep, and then even after prep, like mentally I was very prepared for that.
I've got another question for you both. Do you think the last 6 to 8 weeks of both of your preps, do you think you were vulnerable enough for me to be able to take advantage of you to get you to do pretty much whatever I wanted you to do?
Mate, I would have done anything. But when you're that deep into prep and you're so laser focused, like that one show is just on your mind 24/7. If your coach tells you to do something and you're really in it, you're gonna do it.
What do you
You
think?
just are.
What do you think, Ben? Do you think I could have manipulated you into doing pretty much anything?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Barring some things.
Yeah, I
I think
mean, it depends how big the anything is, isn't it? But like, yeah, I mean,
I think
nothing too weird.
especially
you're so
for a first
emotionally
time show.
invested.
And I think especially for a first timer, because you don't really know how it goes down. Like, it's all still very new. So if you're getting someone with experience telling you to do something, you're probably going to be like, yeah, they're the more experienced person. I'm going to follow what they say.
So coincidentally, how old are you guys again? Ben, you're getting on now, aren't you? Like 30 or something?
I'm 23.
I'm 27.
27 and 23, right? So 27 and 23. Doesn't that just go to show though, like the relationship we have, how well all of that went, how much time we spent working together before you even did your first preps, and you were still incredibly vulnerable in that.
I think it's very hard for you not to be, no matter how experienced you are. I think when you're in that situation where you're dieted down, like you're very focused, you're gonna be vulnerable to anything that you massively are.
And this is the problem, because people there are coaches who are solely results driven, and there are coaches who are not equipped with the skills to acknowledge when things aren't going the way that they should be going, and don't have the balls or the know-how or the care or attentiveness to be able to make decisions that are right for the person. Mate, I've pulled preps on people. I've pulled things back when I thought that they weren't right. I've got a couple of people in prep at the moment, and I'm literally telling them, like I'm saying, the expectation of where you think you can go, not in terms of like a placing or winning, the expectations you have of what you think you're capable of achieving, I think they are beyond what I think you are capable of achieving. That doesn't mean that you're wrong. It just means based on what I've seen and what I know about you, those things don't match. Now, I would love to help you, help to nurture your growth and your journey to achieve what it is that you think you're capable of achieving. And I want to aim for that. Let's aim for that level of condition or that level of physique. But don't set an expectation of it, because if you don't achieve it, you're going to hate yourself and me for it. Right? I'm here to make sure that you get as far as you can get without you being fucked. And do it again. If you want to do it again and be better, at least you've enjoyed it for the most part, and then you can do it again in a few years.
Yeah, as the coach, you need to set realistic expectations, 100%. And
that's so important.
You've got to set them.
Like what you just
see.
It reminds me of the reason why I think I have such positive feelings about mine is because you knew that what I wanted, I could achieve it. I didn't necessarily believe it at all points, but then once that prep had finished, I far surpassed from how I looked, from where I was able to push myself mentally and physically. I far surpassed what I thought I was capable of. And that obviously leaves you coming away with like a really positive feeling about it. But if someone is telling you they want to achieve this, and you know as a coach deep down that like they're not quite there yet, whether it's like in terms of their goal or how they operate or any of those things, you just know they're setting themselves up for failure essentially, aren't they? Because they're gonna miss that mark, and then that makes them feel shit. It's that saying of aim for the star. Like what is it? Aim for the stars, reach for the moon. Yeah, that's the one.
So something
It's
like
that.
Yeah. And then if you miss, you'll hit the I don't know. I know the saying. But you're right though. Like that point is a very poignant one about expectation, because something that me and my mum speak about quite a lot is expectation, because it's something that like I've got a lot of shame around. So it's like this is integrated within my mental processes. And if your expectations of your process or the result of something that you try and do are always astronomically high, or are almost considered perfect, if you're always expecting perfect for yourself, or like something like way too high, then perfect only becomes good enough and anything less than is failure, right? Just put that into perspective. If this is perfect, you aim for between here and here, anything below that is failing, right? And achieving 100% is just okay. That because that's what you should be doing anyway. How mental is that? How fucking like in my head, if I compete this year, not saying I'm gonna, but if I compete this year, then in my head, it's like, I just want to be, I want to be as conditioned, if not more, and I want to have more muscle, right? In my head, I've already kind of done those two things. I already know that I can do those two things, but I will come away from the experience and I'll be like, yeah, that's fucking sick. I beat myself. That's awesome. I definitely can do that. If I do that and like then far surpass the level of condition that I had last time, and I'm still like 6 kilos up from my last stage weight, and I win a class win and an overall, and I'm very competitive in a pro qualifier lineup, I'll be like,
It's just all a
fuck
fucking
yeah, that
bonus,
was
isn't it? Yeah.
awesome. Like I'm nearly there. Like this, I've way surpassed my expectations. Like I want to aim for being a pro bodybuilder, but like I've way surpassed my expectations and I feel fucking awesome for it. Right? That's so good. Like that mindset that I've had to learn to adopt because I've always been a perfectionist. But perfectionism is about avoiding failure, right? Because when you aim for perfect, you know that you can't achieve it. So you're like, oh well, I'm just not going to do it. And that's self-destructive, and it's a way to avoid making mistakes because you've been shamed for making mistakes in the past. That's my mechanism. That's how I work. So I have to lower the bar, lower the standard, lower my expectations, still aim high, lower my expectations, and then superseding those expectations is actually very easy. It makes me feel great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
So I think the next thing is Ben. You're where you're at the moment with prep. I think this is really good. And again, it ties into focusing on the right things.
All right. Before we get into this, I'm just going to go toilet quick.
Yeah, no stress.
Apologies.
How are you, big man?
Mate, I'm so good. You'll see my check-in tomorrow morning. It's a positive one. I'm feeling good.
I'm going to do it. I'm doing it today, mate. I'm mega
Oh,
excited. So I saw your voice notes. Yeah, I saw your voice notes. I was going to do it before the podcast, but I just thought I didn't have time, so I'm going to do it after this.
yeah, mate. Everything's good. Everything's good. Like I'm not going to repeat myself, but you'll hear in the voice note.
Go on, repeat yourself. I want to hear. I want to hear.
Well, yeah, I was just touching on my sleep, like how good my sleep is, and I think that's something to do with the supplementation and the growth hormone potentially coming back. Like not me taking growth
Nice.
hormone, my body producing a bit more growth hormone. And then I feel like I'm very close with getting my training volume in like the sweet spot. I was very positive about how I looked this morning. It's just literally my chest. Once I get my chest back and now I can get back on that pullover, I'm going to be fucking flying. Like, yeah. And I just think I'll cruise up to pretty much all-time body weight. Like, not like all-time, but I think high 80s will be very, very easy for me. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a point where, and this will be really, it'd be good for us to have like a conversation around this most weeks. I think there's going to be, and I'd actually blood work definitely to confirm this. But I think there's going to be a point when your bloods are in a much better spot, when you're optimizing things a lot better. And I think what we should do is we should just sit at whatever body weight that lands at. Because like once we've got all your hormones, yeah, like I think the goal should be to focus on like health, and then once we've got health and your body functioning right, I think we should just let you sit there for a bit, because we've seen you before when you sit in those high you sat at like the low 90s for about 3 months before, and your physique just got better and you got stronger. I think if we can do that again and just give you a bit more runway, then we can, I think again, we can probably push up to like the low 90s again in a better condition with even more runway to like maybe even surpass that. Whether or not we surpass that, I think is a different.
Yeah, 100%.
No, it's good to hear though, Ben. That's good to hear after.
What about you then, Ben?
Yeah,
after the previous podcast.
Yeah.
It's been a bit of a rough week for me. So, well, it's not that bad. It's not that bad.
It's rocked you, and that's fair.
Yeah, it rocked me. It's more of a frustrating than anything. But So yeah, we pulled my prep this week. So we got my bloods done, and they weren't terrible, were they? But there was just like one or two things that weren't great, and it would just be stupid to continue prepping and put myself and my body under more stress, make them worse. When this prep wasn't anything serious anyway. It was more just for fun, wasn't it? So there's just no point putting my health under more stress for nothing really. But it's frustrating because I've been sort of ticking all the boxes I feel like I need to. I thought they were going to be really good, but that just wasn't the case.
Yeah, I think well, the phase, the prep isn't really a prep, is it? It's like by design, it's to put you in a position where you can optimize your growth again, because we've done that before from your last prep, and as we've seen, it works very well. I think we've optimized about 6-7 kilos of muscle in a year, which is kind of mental. So it's kind of like, well, we've got a system, it works, let's do that again. Well, you're not exactly fat at the moment, but we've dieted you down, or dieted Ben down again, and we've done it off cycle. So we've tried to make the most of, or like be optimized the phasing. So he's like had 6-7 weeks off cycle, and then we've got his bloods done, and his bloods have come back, and his liver function is elevated. So liver shows that it's under stress, but it's still functioning absolutely fine. It's just showing that the liver is stressed. So it's not like it's shutting down or there's any issues. It's just there's just a bit of there's just a bit of stress that it's dealing with, and I think that's a combination of maybe the last cycle still being like having an impact. Maybe it's a combination of like his training, how much muscle he's put on. Again, there are all things that skew these things, like high protein diets, training, how much muscle you have, how much muscle you're breaking down. But we tried to minimize some of those skewed results by having time off before the blood work, which he did. And even then, it was a little bit elevated. And then the other one was, what was the other one?
Hematocrit. So yeah, I'm giving blood tomorrow, so that should help with that. But yeah, it was the AST, which is it's a hard one to really gauge, because obviously training can affect it, and it's just frustrating because it's since like coming off cycle, it still went up a little bit, and I thought that wouldn't be the case. But there's so many like things that could play into why that's elevated. So it's just a case of seeing now why and trying to get it to come down. Just figuring it out.
I think just a combination of enough time and supplementation.
I still think I may need some more time off before I get these tests done, because I took. So when did I train? I would have trained Sunday evening, I think, and then I had Monday, Tuesday off, but then I got it done Wednesday morning.
72 hours to cut off.
I'm still within that 72 hours, so maybe I need some more time off there. I've also had a look, and this is really interesting. There's like a bunch of like supplements that can raise it as well that I've been taking. So like ashwagandha can do it, which I didn't know. Herbal supplements like aloe vera, things like that, can raise it as well.
Is it raised artificially in the result, or actually like stress the liver?
It's a little bit of both, I think.
Right. Okay.
It can stress the liver a little bit, but it's also artificially raising that result too. So so I've pulled those sort of things out, and then I think we just give it some more time before I get them tested again, time off from the gym, make sure I'm actually using that 72 hours away from it. I don't think it helped either that it was a fucking leg day I did on the Sunday, and they're like the worst ones to do, aren't they? Hopefully with some time we'll see where we're at, and we'll go from there. But yeah, it was just frustrating more than anything, because I felt really good. I felt like I was in a good spot to just keep going, but it's not the end of the world, and health is the most important thing, and longevity is the most important thing in bodybuilding. So
that's it, mate. You've had very few of these. I mean, if any.
Mate, I've never really had a setback, so this is like my first one, really.
Not bad going for 3 years.
No, not bad going at all. And I'm sure it'll be fine. We'll get it to a point where it is fine. So we'll just go from there.
Seems like it's come from
by the way,
a very mature place as well, Ben. Like, you're saying you feel really good. Like, you could have easily just sort of like bullied your way through it. Oh, I'm doing this regardless. But you understand that there's no sort of rush and pressure to do it.
Yeah. Or I could have made the excuses on why it's high and just sort of put the blinders on and just continued, which is something that I don't want to do, because the reality is it could be raised and it could be nothing to nothing to be worried about. But if I do put the blinders on and it's raised and it was something to be worried about, and then I continue to make it worse, then I'm in a bad situation. So may as well get it to the point where it's completely fine and make sure that it's fine and I get the peace of mind that it's okay, and then I can move on from there.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
what's the harm? Like, what's the harm
Exactly.
in another 3 or 4 weeks off cycle and making sure? Like, what's the harm in just making sure that you are okay? And you're right, and this is what I mean about the vulnerability thing and being taken advantage of, and like listening to someone who you consider has got your best intentions at heart. Is that some people would just go, yeah, mate, you're on a high protein diet and you trained legs and like there's loads of things that can skew it and everything else looks pretty good, and it doesn't show that your liver function is down. It just shows that your liver values are elevated, and there's this reason and that reason, and yeah, I think we should. Like, just that's. I mean, we'll go back on cycle and we'll have the bloods done again in like 12 weeks. I'm sure you'll be fine. Like, very, very easily could twist someone's arm into two. And you're like, I mean, let's be real. The idea of going back on cycle is always fun. So like most people want to do it. Do you know what I mean? So again, the wrong person, well, the right person and the wrong person is very, very easy to manipulate that person into making the wrong decision. And then you could fuck them up, destroy the liver or the cholesterol or the kidneys. There becomes some kind of issue from that, and then people turn around and go, yeah, well, you just shouldn't bodybuild then, or you made that choice, you put those drugs in you, and it's like, yeah, but so now.
Yeah. What were you saying you thought skewed it then? Because I had something very similar with my B12 was very high, and I've recently found out that was because of pre-workout. So maybe just some value that can be taken there of sort of understanding what you're taking and what that can affect. Because it might affect that you're not necessarily thinking about.
Yeah, it's difficult because there's so many different variables that could be affecting it, and that's why it's frustrating, because it's also one of them things like it's not something I could just go and take something out and then get it tested the next day and be like, all right, it was that. You got to give it time, and that's that's the frustrating part of it. But yeah, I just need to sort of just appreciate that it's just going to take time, and just got to give it some time.
One of those things as well, isn't it? Like you've probably like 2 or 3 things that are propped up, and you're like, one of these things could be the cause, and then you remove all 3, and then it's better, and you go, right, well, it was one of them.
Which one?
Or was it all 3? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it's yeah.
With it.
That's the it's the complexities of taking PEDs and bodybuilding, isn't it? It gets so complicated, and the more you start like digging into these issues, the more things come up, and you're like, fucking hell. And that's probably the hole that Ruben went down quite a lot, wasn't it, when he had all of his issues? And I can see how very easy it is to do that after I've had these now.
One thing after the other, and
Yeah.
often it's a very obvious reason. But you know when someone like hyper focuses on the problem and then its potential causes, you end up finding things which aren't anything to do with it, but they're like red herrings, and you just but it makes the equation to solving the problem even more difficult. And Ruben was very at the time, he was very he was just panicking, I think. And so he was pulling out a load of red herrings, and it was almost like when someone brings them to your attention, you have to acknowledge them. You can't just go, yeah, it's not that. Yeah, it's not that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Where even is he?
Ruben. I've messaged him. I'm going to get on a call with him, but I think Ruben's. I don't really know. I think he's I don't want to say moving away from bodybuilding, but I just think he's putting it on the back burner. I think he's obviously with Nicole, and I think he's looking at getting like a proper job. He's looking at getting a more corporate job, and I think in the process of doing that and finding a more corporate job, I think bodybuilding is just taking a bit of a back seat at the moment. Which is
he's got a lot of life changes happening. Like his partner's just moved over there. He's got a little dog now. Like, it's completely understandable.
For me, mate, as long as he's happy. And I said to him, do you want to get on the podcast? He was like, yeah, mate, I still want to do the podcast, but it's just a case of when. And sometimes I might not reply. Sometimes I might not be able to get on, just with the nature of like the situation at the moment. But if I do get the opportunity, I'd love to be on there and obviously just catch up with you boys. And I was like, mate, you're always welcome. It's not that deep, like, And so I just think at the moment he's just finding his feet with all these new changes.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
So as long as he's happy, that's all I care about.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. What are we saying, boys? Should we call it a day there? That's 45 minutes. I feel like that was a good
Yeah,
chat.
I think that's pretty good, isn't it?
Anything else? If you want to add to anything,
there's some value in there again. So yeah, I will leave it there. I think that's good. I can finally go eat, go train.
I'm on 600 grams of carbs today.
All right for some.
I was on 380, right, and then I got ill last weekend, and then he was like, right, let's go 500 grams of carbs. Everything else stays the same. Let's go 500 grams of carbs and run that for like 4 days. And like me being me, I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to get fat. And he's like, no, just fucking have the 500 grams of carbs. So I did. While I was ill, didn't train, wasn't moving, and then my weight started coming down. Like, mate, I've not been able to get on the 120. So my weight come down, and then I got into like the high 119s. I messaged him yesterday. I'm like, mate, I've just hit 119.8. Like that, this is a new low. And he was like, right, okay, 650 grams of carbs. I was like, what? He's like, you obviously, this is good. Like, let's give you some more food. I was like, all right, okay. I had 650 grams of carbs yesterday. Woke up at 119.2 this morning. Lost more weight. Make it make sense.
Yeah, I think when we were prepping and you'd give me like a refeed, and I was always a bit like, oh, don't really want to do this. And then the next day, it's like weight was down. I was like, fucking hell, how does this even work? But yeah,
and then in a few days' time, you look like crisp and dry and just look fucking mint, don't you?
It's funny how it works, isn't it?
Yeah. Mate, I love my
one
diet.
Positive of me pulling the one positive of me pulling the prep was so me and Rev had that I didn't have like an off plan or like we didn't go for like a restaurant meal or like a dirty meal. We made like a little Mexican and it was lovely. But the last year I prepped for Easter, so I didn't have an Easter egg. This year I was prepping for Easter, so I didn't have a fucking Easter egg. I was fuming. But Riv got me an Easter egg, and it was just like, I can have an Easter egg. I was so buzzing.
It's the little things, isn't it? It is,
yeah. Yeah, because I've been walking in the shops, I'm just like looking at these Easter eggs. So I've always loved Easter eggs. Like, I just love chocolate, and not having it for 2 years, I'm just looking at it like, oh, this is so sad, but it's fine. But at the same time, I finally got my Easter egg, so I was buzzing.
On Easter, my mum will get
we'll leave it there, boys.
An 85% chocolate. Just what I've already got, and she'll just write a nice message on it, and she'll just add it in.
That's sweet. That's sweet.
I'm just like, yeah,
that's class. Cute. Yeah, well, cute. Right then, boys.
Home with my mum.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to the podcast, and we will get another one out as soon as possible.
Sound boys, it's been a pleasure. In a bit.
Peace.